Welcome to the Realty-Matics. My name is Jason and I'm the Business Development Manager. Today, let's talk about 8 things to look for when hiring a good property management company. Number 1, fee structures. Probably the most obvious question, but not necessarily the most important question. It's been said that price is what you pay, but value is what you get. So for obvious reasons, you don't want to overpay, but be very careful about companies who lowball the competition because there's a lot of things they can't do in their business. They can't grow, they can't market, they can't invest in technology, they can't necessarily have the proper infrastructure in place. So a company that charges low fees, be very careful. Now this is the second biggest investment you'll make in your lifetime for most of us, so you got to be careful. They can make or break your investment. So you got to find a company that provides the right value for you. Number 2, what sort of processes and procedures do they have in place? We're fortunate enough here to be led by a former NASA engineer. So we've got the processes, the procedures, the software, everything in place to make this a successful investment for you. Number 3, what sort of infrastructure do they have in place? Do they have the coverage? Do they have enough people on staff to adequately accommodate your situation and growth that they may be experiencing? Now we've got at least 30 people on staff. So we've got the proper infrastructure in place and we're always looking to hire. So we want to make sure that we're ahead of that growth curve. Number 4, what sort of experience do they have? A lot of property management companies pop in and pop out. A lot of them haven't been around long, so they may not have the right processes and procedures. They haven't developed things over time, and they may just not have the right experience. Another thing to be cautious of would be using a realtor to handle your property management services. And the reason for that is that realtors are looking for to make the sale. That's their livelihood. That's how they get paid and make a living, and they do property management on the side. You don't want them chasing the big commission checks on the sales side and neglecting the property management side. So be careful of the experience that you're working with. Number 5, communication. Communication is important in all facets of life, and particularly when it comes to such a high investment as your rental property. So what sort of communication policies do they have in place? What sort of methods and avenues do they have to communicate with you? We're fortunate enough here to have technology is a big facet for us. So we've got obviously email, we've got phone calls, we've got video and BombBomb and Zoom and text messaging capabilities. We're covered. So communication is not an issue. And we have an office policy here that if communication is received by 4 o'clock, we have to respond the same day. Now, if it's an emergency, that's going to trump everything. But if it's after 4 o'clock, it would be the next morning. Number 6. Are they marking up their maintenance invoices? A lot of companies do this. We don't here, but we also don't make it mandatory that you have to use our vendors either. So we have all the vendors you could ever need. We have multiple vendors for every facet of maintenance, and we don't mark up the invoices. And it's up to you whether you want to use our vendors, your vendors, or if you're local, you're welcome to handle it yourself. Number 7, ancillary fees. This is the killer right here because they may be charging low management fees, but there's ancillary fees in their management agreement that you're not going to necessarily know about unless you scour that agreement. So a lot of companies do this. They charge ancillary fees to bring their per door price point up so that they're actually making the fees they want to, but they're advertising these low management fees for you. So be careful of the ancillary fees. And number 8, what sort of cancellation policy do they have? A lot of companies will charge you to cancel the contract or terminate the contract for any reason at all. It doesn't matter if you want to move back into the property. It doesn't matter if you want to sell the property, or if they're not doing their job properly, they're going to charge you a termination penalty, and it can be very steep at times. We've seen lots of contracts that are very hard to get out of, and then unfortunately the owners just stuck with them for a while. So those are 8 things to look for when hiring a good property manager. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.